Now at 6 and only on 5. Protests over protests. Just a day after our city announced its rules for demonstrations during the RNC. Demonstrators complain the designated route doesn't get them close enough to the queue, and that violates the Constitution.
Well, now the ACLU says it's taking action. NewsChannel 5 is always investigating, so we sent Megan Hickey to dig into the law. And Megan, you spoke with legal experts on both sides of the issue and learned why the protesters are upset.
I'm on the official parade route right now. This is as close as it gets to the queue, and protesters argue they won't be seen or heard by a single delegate from here. It looks like the Guardians of Transportation will have plenty of guests during the RNC.
There's nothing going to be done.
The city says demonstrators will have an hour to cross the Lorraine-Carnegie Bridge, turn right onto Ontario, and end at East 9th.
In very close proximity to the convention complex.
But the ACLU of Ohio tells me close is in the eye of the beholder.
And they're basically being shut out.
The ACLU argues that it's the constitutional right of the groups it represents to be both seen and heard.
We can't wait!
Which won't happen if the delegates are nearly half a mile away.
The whole point of the way things are designed is to isolate the delegates away from the speakers.
They're asking for a closer route and longer hours, pointing to the New York City RNC in 2004, when some protesters were allowed right up against the barriers in Madison Square Garden. And they say they don't want a repeat of what happened in Tampa, when protesters were largely out of sight of the convention center.
I absolutely agree it is a constitutional issue.
With a legal precedent, a 2014 Supreme Court case ruled the buffer zone in front of a Massachusetts abortion clinic violated free speech. But former Judge Ken Callahan says a court would have to weigh that right
against the duty of the government to provide safety to delegates and citizens and people under their care.
And it's ruled in favor of cities citing reasonable time and place restrictions for safety concerns.
They have a lot to account for. If they make claims about security, they may have to make those claims in front of a judge.
Now, the city says the route was designed with constitutional rights in mind. The ACLU says they would prefer a compromise before taking any legal action. Live in Cleveland, Megan Hickey, News Channel 5.